Brendan, I'm curious for you, what worked well for the Knicks defensively in this series against Philadelphia?
Well, I think the games were so awesome, and part of me wanted it to go to a game 7 just for the theater of how great every single game was. And the games changed around like every 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Like there would be a new theme in the game. But for the Knicks, their fourth quarter defense in game 1, in game 4 in Philadelphia, that was the really big one. Then game 5, they still had a chance to win, and they had defended really well until that very last stint. You know, what it comes down to is Nick Nurse made some very questionable moves in some of these fourth quarters. And that opened a little window for the Knicks. And they out-execute the Sixers in game 1 in the fourth quarter. Same thing with game 4. The defense is incredible. OG and Achua denying Embiid. And Nick Nurse just kept trying to run offense through Embiid in a lot of these fourth quarters, and that just wasn't the move. So, you know, it's a Tom team. The offensive rebounding obviously is a major math thing as to why the Knicks, won the series. But the fourth quarter defense, just amazing in so many different regards, not allowing the Sixers to even get into the first options of plays.
Jared, such a unique vantage point for you, sideline reporting throughout the series. What did you see from both teams, in particular with the Knicks? What did you see from them that allowed them to get over the hump?
First of all, you have to address us correctly. You have to say Jersey in the house.
Villanova in the house with the Knicks, and now Jersey in the house with these two.
Right.
Yes, sure.
That's right. Yeah, I love, I love the graphic that you have up there. Ian Eagle said it. By the way, I only work with guys that spell their name I-A-N. I'm not sure who pronounces it correctly, you or Mr. Eagle. But
the bird he's even said that I pronounce it correctly. He's giving me credit there.
Oh,
so anyway,
gotcha. But it was a war of attrition, and it was such a great series, as Brendan said. And I think so many people did want to see a Game 7 because, a lot of times in these NBA series that go 7, they oftentimes are lopsided games, and you're like, how are we going to 7 when every game is being decided by double figures? So I thought it was just so special to be around this series and to watch this go down. I don't even know what your question was, to be honest with you, Ian, or Ian, or whatever you want to be called.
What did you see behind the scenes? Take us a little bit behind the scenes on the Knicks, being around them. What was your impression of the group based on what you saw?
I got to be honest. I hate some of the cliches, and I'm sure Brendan, knowing him as well as I do, I'm sure he feels the same way. I hate some of these cliches that we get into this time of the year for basketball when, a team takes on the spirit or embodies their coach and all that crap.
Right.
Well, with that said, this Knicks team takes on the spirit and embodies the style of play that their coach wants to play. And the biggest takeaway that I have from the series was this backed up everything that I have felt about load management and about players being coddled and put in bubble wrap throughout the course of a regular season. The reason why the Knicks won this series, you could talk about the rebounding stats, you could talk about the offensive rebounding, you could talk about you could point to turnovers in key situations, all the little things that are tangible that you could point your finger to. The intangible that won this series for the Knicks was their ability to not get fatigued in major moments. The reason why, let's face facts here, that Joel Embiid was so small in each fourth quarter of each game in the 6 games was not necessarily because of his knee. It was not necessarily because of Bell's palsy. It was because Joel Embiid, throughout the course of the season, and including now when it counts the most, is not in proper basketball shape. And that, for the Knicks, can never be said. Tom Thibodeau gets these guys prepared for playoff basketball, starting with game 1 of the preseason, treats it important game 10 of the regular season, and in game 82 of the regular season. That's why they earned this seed that they're in, was because of how they treated the regular season in game 82 versus how the Cavs and the Bucks treated game 82 of the regular season. And I think that translates. And I hope, in what is typically a copycat league, I hope the rest of the NBA paid attention to how this Knicks team won this series.